In this second piece around stress and resilience, I wanted to talk about coping strategies. And coping strategies is something that I can go on about for way too long, so I'll try to keep it really short and succinct. Um, my position on coping strategies comes from personal experience. Back in 2010, I got signed off work with work-related stress. I was working in IT at the time, and when I went to see the GP, they asked me about my symptoms, they asked me about my work environment. And when I explained my work environment, they asked me, how many weeks has this been going on for? And I said 3.5 years. And they said, you must be doing something really good in order to cope with this level of stress for 3.5 years. But I'm sitting there thinking, I must be doing something really stupid to cope with this level of stress for 3.5 years. And that was really because it wasn't necessarily getting me anywhere. I was simply putting up with stress and a damaging level of stress when it came to my health and well-being in order to simply keep a roof over my head. And my whole relationship with that work environment was damaging to me. So I became very interested in this area. Now, in the first part of the stress and resilience piece, I spoke about this idea of what is a natural response to stress? How does a deer respond to stress? And within the natural world, what tends to happen is a stress comes in, a deer feels threatened, it responds to it immediately, and so it doesn't feel threatened. It returns back into a state of balance. And it does that at multiple points during the day. What coping strategies have a tendency to do is not necessarily find a way to resolve the stress at the point that it occurs. It's this analogy that I gave in the first section about a coping strategy will tend to give you one big runaway, thinking that one big runaway is actually going to work really well instead of actually running away from the things, as in the deer running away from the things that you do during the day. So the coping strategies are really, really useful when you have an awful lot of stuff coming at you. So maybe you're coming to a delivery date for a project, maybe you're coming up to the end of the financial year. There's any number of things that happen through the annual cycle of business or through the cycles that happen in business that will be very high stress places. And in these places, coping strategies are fantastic things. And the coping strategy could be anything. It could be a Qigong practice, which is obviously my preferred thing. It could be a mindfulness practice. It could be a glass of wine when you get home. It could be any number of things that we do in order to escape from that workplace. These are all coping strategies and they all fulfill exactly the same role in that situation. If your only purpose in taking on this practice is to escape from work, it is only a coping strategy. So what is there that you can do differently? Well, again, if we look at the analogy of the deer responds in the moment. So what we're talking about is creating an awareness that the stress is there and finding a way to disempower that response as soon as it is no longer useful. So we will talk a little bit in the next section about the different types of stress response. But basically, when we get into that heightened state that you can find in most workplaces, how can we recognize when it's useful? How can we let it go? When can we let it go? When can we come back into a state of balance? Because it's coming back into this state of balance that's the most important thing around resilience and around stress. It's that thing that enables us to actually find a base level from which to operate. If each thing that comes in knocks us up a level of stress and up a level of stress and up a level of stress, it doesn't become long before the stress levels are so high that we're no longer operating at a sensible place. That we're now in a situation that our internal pharmacy is not working properly, our digestive systems are not working properly, our clarity of thought isn't there. So it's finding the way to actually return back to baseline as regularly as possible and as efficiently as possible so that we can work clearly, so that we can be more healthy and that we can actually have that level of well-being that we all deserve in our lives. These practices are things that we teach through the Green Chair, through the method of Qigong. There are many other people who teach these through other methods, such as mindfulness, such as yoga. All kinds of places will work on these ideas. But to find out more about these ideas using embodied techniques that are completely invisible, that nobody notices you do, that are proven to be easily integrated into the workplace, give us a call at The Green Chair or look me up on LinkedIn. Thank you.